5 years and still talking. This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey everybody, this is Alex Bennett, host of the Ramble, heard here and seen here on GabNet, Tuesday through Fridays, live at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, and I got some big news for you. Our program has moved its live video from Facebook Live to YouTube Live. After extensive tests in our GabNet laboratories of at least 10 minutes, our mind was made up and we've come to the conclusion that YouTube is superior not only in video quality, but audio as well. And then there's the ease of watching it. Here's what you do. Simply point your browser to youtube.com/Bolo Bennett /live. That's youtube.com/Bolo Bennett, BOLOBENNETT /live. And you're there. The player is waiting, and you do nothing, and when the show begins, so does the player. Couldn't be simpler. In fact, tag that page as a permanent tab on your browser, and you're ready to go. And if all of this is too vexing for you, well, just go to gabnet.net near showtime, and the player in the middle of the page will start to play when we're on. We're thrilled with the new quality our move has provided, and while you're there, would you do me a favor and please subscribe to our channel? No, I beg you to. Hey, listen to me, I'm groveling, okay? I know, it's pathetic. I'm sorry, I'm debasing myself, and I really shouldn't be. Please.
Spotify has 180 million monthly users and access to 35 million songs and podcasts. Now, all those offerings are going to have to move over and make room for GabNet programming. Yes, at long last, Alex Bennett's Ramble, Damian Chaplin's Exchange, Jack Bishop's The Intersection, and even the franchise MC's Arena and Michael Snyder's weekly movie reviews will be fighting for space on this massive platform. Each day, the programs are updated, so you can hear them on the Spotify app, available for all smartphones and game consoles. Or you can just go to Spotify on the web at spotify.com. So, give us a shot on Spotify. There's a 35 million to 5 chance we'll get people to listen to talk like they've never heard it before. Reasons why you tune into GabNet. Reason number 29, the Citizen Panel.
I'm saying that he could actually, a good lawyer might be able to make a case that he cannot get a fair trial anywhere in the United States because the President of the United States said, quote, he should be executed. And if you can't find a fair jury anywhere in this country because they've all been exposed to this.
No, he'll never go to trial if he's treated as an enemy combatant.
He's not being treated as an enemy combatant, Phil.
He's basically a citizen. He has a green card. He has all the rights that a citizen of the United States has because he has a green card. Either you want to follow the Constitution of the United States or not. Go to Russia if you don't want to follow the rules.
He said that he did this for ISIS. He had a note in his thing. He had phone call on his cell phone, and he says that he did it for ISIS. Therefore,
okay, so Phil, if you did that, you should be able to be treated as enemy combatant.
I think so.
GabNet. Reasons to listen every day. Log on to gabnet.net for more. GabNet. It's talk like you've never heard it before. 5 years and still talking. This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hello, everybody. I'm Alex Bennett, and this is the Ramble. If we're lucky tonight, there will be a Ramble. Last night, we had to close our program down about halfway through because of all kinds of technical difficulties because Icarus tried to fly too close to the sun. We tried to do the show both on iTunes and YouTube and Facebook at the same time, and the whole system blew. Okay, I'm sorry about that. But anyway, last night we started off the show with an interview with my ex-wife. And since I don't know if it really, since the whole show screwed up, I wanted to redo stuff tonight. And so let's replay that interview from last night with the inimitable Ronnie Bennett. Gentlemen, out there in Lake Oswego, Oregon, we go to visit with my ex-wife, Ronnie Bennett. Best ex-wife I've ever had, by the way, I'll tell you. Yeah.
It's what?
You're the best ex-wife I've ever had.
What? I don't know what that means. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. You're the one that I still have a ongoing relationship with, which is nice, is really nice. And Ronnie, we've told you in the past, has a touch of the cancer. So
a touch of the cancer?
Touch
is
of
that
the
what
cancer.
we're calling it now?
Well, I years ago, little Richard, I don't know, maybe you were with me at the time. I was supposed to have him on as a guest, and he had to beg out. And the excuse he used was, I have a touch of the cancer.
That's a great line.
And
I like
went,
it.
what the fuck
I have
is
a touch of the cancer. Actually, I'm calling mine my predicament.
Yeah, yeah. Well, actually, if I have the prostate cancer thing, which is about an 85% chance I do, it really, in its own way, is a touch of the cancer because it's a light cancer, okay, that they can take care of by medicine and hormones and things like that. But anyway, no, I don't want to talk about health that much today, but you asked me before we went on, how am I? And I told you I had a tooth removed. And then you asked me, am I going to get it replaced? Meaning, am I going to get an implant? You don't just grow it.
Well, there are other kinds of replacement.
Well, I am going to get a replacement tomorrow. It's what they call a clipper. Mm-hmm. And that just booms right. And I used one of those the last time I had a tooth pulled, and I was waiting for an implant, and everything had to get better. It takes like about 3 months before it heals enough that they can put in the implant, and then another 3 months before they can say, okay, the implant is solidly in there. And meanwhile, you wear this clipper, this little tooth that goes on like that. And I went, I enjoyed it so much that by the time it was time to get the implant, I was questioning whether I wanted the implant or not, because that was so easy. Every morning I just went clip, and it didn't bother me, and it felt like another tooth. So, and I figure, I don't want to get an implant because at my age, how long am I going to be able to use it? If I...
Well, I mean, that's what you have to weigh at our age, Is it worth probably some amount of thousands of dollars or not?
Which gets us around.
There's no way to know.
Well, which gets us around to your specialty about getting older, which is featured in your blog at timegoesby.net. And that is, there are things as you get older that you start weighing. If I were 50 right now, yeah, I'd get an implant in a heartbeat. Okay? I wouldn't even think twice about it. But at my age, I'm thinking, okay, let's say I live to be 100, then I'm wrong on this, okay? But I'm not, my mother lived that long, but I don't think I'm going to have the same genetic predilection, okay? So you have to question, is it worth putting $5,000 worth of hardware in your mouth, given your time left? Now, if I had tons of dough, I guess I'd do it. What the hell? I got nothing else to do with my life, right? But, at our age, you have to weigh that against the longevity. So that's why you see old people with missing teeth a lot.
One of the first things I decided to get rid of when they first told me that I had this cancer was, oh goody, I never have to exercise again. I give that up. Well, now I've slightly gone back because they've extended my potential life a little bit, and I would like to be able to function. So I need a little exercise. So I'm going back to that. But another one was that unless I am in screaming pain, no more dentists. I have spent so many tens of thousands of dollars.
Oh, yeah,
dentists.
Yeah.
And no more. I'm done. And speaking of implants, I consider tooth implants like cataract surgery the two of the most successful and fantastic things for old people.
Oh, what happened? Oh boy. Well, we'll have to start it over again, folks, all right? Ladies and gentlemen, out there in Lake Oswego, Oregon, we go to visit with my ex-wife, Ronnie Bennett. Best ex-wife I've ever had, by the way, I'll tell you. Yeah.
It's what?
You're the best ex-wife I've ever had.
What? I don't know what that means. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. You're the one that I still have a ongoing relationship with, which is nice, is really nice. And Ronnie, we've told you in the past, has a touch of the cancer. So
a touch of the cancer?
Touch
is
of
that
the
what
cancer.
we're calling it now?
Well, I years ago, little Richard, I don't know, maybe you were with me at the time. I was supposed to have him on as a guest, and he had to beg out. And the excuse he used was, I have a touch of the cancer.
That's a great line.
And I
like
went,
it.
what the fuck
I have
is
a
it?
touch of the cancer. Actually, I'm calling mine my predicament.
Yeah, yeah. Well, actually, if I have the prostate cancer thing, which is about an 85% chance I do, it really in its own way is a touch of the cancer because it's a light cancer, okay, that they can take care of by medicine and hormones and things like that. But anyway, no, I don't want to talk about health that much today, but you asked me before we went on, how am I? And I told you I had a tooth removed. And then you asked me, am I going to get it replaced? Meaning, am I going to get an implant? You don't just grow it.
Well, there are other kinds of replacement.
Well, I am going to get a replacement tomorrow. It's what they call a clipper. Mm-hmm. And that just booms right. And I used one of those the last time I had a tooth pulled, and I was waiting for an implant, and everything had to get better. It takes like about 3 months before it heals enough that they can put in the implant, and then another 3 months before they can say, okay, the implant is solidly in there. And meanwhile, you wear this clipper, this little tooth that goes on like that. And I went, I enjoyed it so much that by the time it was time to get the implant, I was questioning whether I wanted the implant or not, because that was so easy. Every morning I just went clip, and it didn't bother me, and it felt like another tooth. So, and I figure, I don't want to get an implant because at my age, how long am I going to be able to use it? If I...
Well, I mean, that's what you have to weigh at our age, Is it worth probably some amount of thousands of dollars or not?
Which gets us around.
There's no way to know.
Well, which gets us around to your specialty about getting older, which is featured in your blog at timegoesby.net. And that is, there are things as you get older that you start weighing. If I were 50 right now, yeah, I'd get an implant in a heartbeat. Okay? I wouldn't even think twice about it. But at my age, I'm thinking, okay, let's say I live to be 100, then I'm wrong on this, okay? But I'm not, my mother lived that long, but I don't think I'm going to have the same genetic predilection, okay? So you have to question, is it worth putting $5,000 worth of hardware in your mouth, given your time left? Now, if I had tons of dough, I guess I'd do it. What the hell? I got nothing else to do with my life, right? But, at our age, you have to weigh that against the longevity. So that's why you see old people with missing teeth a lot.
One of the first things I decided to get rid of when they first told me that I had this cancer was, oh goody, I never have to exercise again. I give that up. Well, now I've slightly gone back because they've extended my potential life a little bit, and I would like to be able to function. So I need a little exercise. So I'm going back to that. But another one was that unless I am in screaming pain, no more dentists. I have spent so many tens of thousands of dollars.
Oh, yeah,
dentists.
yeah.
And no more. I'm done. And speaking of implants, I consider tooth implants like cataract surgery, the two of the most successful and fantastic things for old people. What do you know that they can grow? Well, you know this because you've had it before. They can grow bone in there.
Oh, yeah.
Grow bone.
Oh, yeah.
And then that's what you wait the few months for it to get hard, and then they can put the implant in. I was just amazed. I had no idea we could do that.
Well, they couldn't put the bone graft in my mouth because I had an infection. But he said at a later date we can do the bone graft. You know, they can do it at any point. And they just put it in there, and then it gets hard, and it, eventually becomes bone.
It's pretty amazing, just like cataract surgery.
Yeah,
you know?
Oh, yeah.
Just when I had I guess it's 4 or 5 years ago that I had cataract surgery.
I had them in both eyes.
And I have one for distance and one for close-up, so I don't have to wear reading glasses.
Yeah.
And which is how I wore contact lenses for years and years. Yeah. And it was completely, I mean, it takes 20 minutes to get your eye done or less, And
but do you know that operation, that cataract operation years ago, wasn't that simple? I mean,
but we're not living in years ago.
No, but I mean, it wasn't that simple. You used to have to sleep on a pillow for 3 months. It kept your head from moving. I mean, it was that difficult.
I wasn't there then. I'm here now.
And then I got mine, and you're right. It was like 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, if he really was working too hard. Or wasn't skilled enough. I had this one doctor.
It is truly a miracle.
I went into the place, and there were like 10 people all in chairs waiting to go in and have it done. And he did one after another, after another, after another, after another. I mean, and it was all on he does it on a Wednesday, right? So when he walks out of there, he's made God knows how much money. But the cataract surgery works.
I just think that it's such a miracle that we can do that. Other people for centuries, until this century, until the 20th century, went blind, and there was nothing we could do for all that time.
Right.
And I can see like a brand new baby now,
Yeah. So, I mean, these are things that, for instance, for old people, well, most old people will wind up getting some kind of cataract surgery. It's just, it happens. All of a sudden you notice this blurry spot in the middle of your eye, and you go, I better go see the eye doctor. And he goes, well, it's ripe. That's the term they use. It's ripe.
Mine didn't, but that's okay.
Now, if what the subtitle of your blog is what it's like to get old.
But it's really like to get old. It's
really like to get old. And these are facts of life that if people are listening to us, if you're young and you're listening to this and going, I don't need this, I don't need to hear about this. The fact of the matter is, yes, you do, because it's going to happen to you. No matter how you parse it, it's going to happen to you. And so I often say, think of us as the Sacagawea of aging. We're out in front of the Lewis and Clark party seeing the road ahead, as it were. And it's true. You don't think you're going to live this long. That's the first thing. Well, I always thought I was going to live forever. But, and that's when you're a kid. That's why you do so many risky things. But as you get older, you never think you're going to get to this age. And then once you're to this age, now I realize why people are cranky. I realize, why we, all the things that we made fun about with aging. I move a little slower, I think my voice hasn't really changed that much. I think my voice is kind of still remains somewhat youthful. If I didn't have the stupidity of showing myself on this program, nobody would know how old I was, But then again, I start griping about things and they know exactly how old I am.
Well, when you start talking about prostate cancer, people can guess.
Yeah, well, no, but prostate cancer you can get, if you get it younger, then you got to have the prostate removed. If you get it older, they don't do that, because it's a slower growing prostate cancer. So it's different when if you get it at 80, you're fine. They'll treat it with hormones. They'll treat it with not radiation. They can do some chemical stuff. I mean, it's manageable. Okay. The word they used to me was something else will get you. And I went, oh, that's nice. My doctor said, I can keep you alive till you're 95. I said, well, that's fine. I said, but my mother lived to be 100. How are you going to deal with that one, pal? You know.
I don't think how long our parents live have much to do with how long we live.
Let me ask you some questions about what's going on politically in our country.
Oh, okay. I don't know I've got any answers.
And how it affects your older audience. I mean, it almost seems like they're trying to kill us old people. Mm-hmm. You know,
the Republicans have been trying to do that since 1935.
Yeah, but now they've got the power to do it. I mean, when you talk about making changes in Medicare, when you talk about making changes in Medicaid, you're talking about killing people.
Yes, you are.
And I'm wondering if we shouldn't get around and start killing them. I mean, I hate to sound like some kind of assassin, but you know, isn't this a fight for life that we're fighting here now? And how do you stop them?
Well, you have to elect the right people. It's a hard process in our form of government. It's very difficult. One of the questions this week or today and yesterday that I have is that the person in the office in the White House, one of the people in the office in the White House that approves, does the homework and research and approves or disapproves allowing you to see, I'm having a chemo brain attack.
Yeah, okay.
That allows you to have top secret clearance of some kind, you know, one of those kinds. Rejected Jared Kushner, the president's son-in-law. And then it was, the headline this morning was that the White House ordered that man in that office that approves top secret clearances or secret clearances, ordered him not to appear in the subpoena that was issued by the Democratic House to talk about how these people who were disapproved, who did not have the proper good credentials to have a secret clearance, were given it anyway at the order of the president. And now the president has ordered that person not appear at the subpoena that was given him. Can a president do that?
No, that's obstruction of justice.
Well, no, don't call that, because nobody knows what that means right now. Yeah. And everybody has a different definition.
I don't think he can do that.
Can a president legally do that without all this mishmash of what we think obstruction of justice is?
You see, the trouble with Trump is he mixes up running a business, which he didn't do very well, with running the country.
That's not my question, Alex. That's really not my question.
Well, the answer to the question is no. I don't
is
think
it legal for him to do that?
I don't think so.
And how do we find? Because certainly nobody in the media has asked that question this morning.
Yeah.
I can find.
Yeah. Is that McGahn you're thinking of?
No, it's not McGahn. It's another person. That's a separate subpoena.
Yeah.
Different one that apparently he is going to honor. But this is a person in the office who's been there through past administrations that works on clearances for secret, you know, whatever you call that thing. Help me with my chemo brain.
The clearances. Yeah, I mean, for FBI and so on. Hell, I had a top secret clearance in the military. I got it. But then again, I'm no Jared Kushner. You know. By the way, did you see what he?
This morning there was he was being interviewed somewhere this morning, and said that a couple of ads on Facebook referring to ones from Russia.
Yeah.
Don't really matter
compared to the damage that was done going after Trump. That's how he put it. You know, it doesn't equal a couple of Facebook ads. That's how he put it. A couple of Facebook ads, folks. You know, I mean, let's face it, Jared, your father-in-law is in the White House right now because somebody gamed the system. Okay? Period. That's it. To begin with, he didn't win. He lost by about 3 million votes. But secondly, he gamed the system and allowed others to do it for him. including the Russians. I mean, he didn't go when he heard that the Russians were doing something, go to the Russians and say, stop doing that, and then go to the FBI and say, guess what they've tried to do to me. He didn't do any of that. It just was kind of a benign neglect because he knew it was to his benefit.
You know, I don't know if it was benign neglect. I think it was more serious than that.
Yeah.
And what some people have been talking about, and I agree with, is that after, 3.5 years, if you count the campaign, that we've been subjected to this, this person, this crude, awful person. Even if he didn't do anything that we think is illegal, he's just
crude.
Awful. He's just a terrible person, and he's our president. I mean, how you just don't know how that can happen.
You know what gets me about him most of all is what I call his Mussolini face. Do you know what I'm talking about? There's a look that he has of sternness that kind of looks like Mussolini. Mussolini used to take that posture.
I haven't seen enough photographs of Mussolini apparently, but what's happened in these 3.5 years is that his behavior has become normal, and we aren't outraged anymore. And I mean, think if Obama had even said one of the awful things that Trump has said.
If he had said one of the words he said, I mean, he used bullshit the other day.
But he's done that frequently.
If Obama had used the word bullshit, they would have gone apoplectic.
You know, it's, I don't know, you know, and now the whole argument about impeachment, I don't have any opinion on. I can't make sense of for myself.
No.
Of whether it's the right thing
I've
to
come to
do
the
or not.
determination that if you started the impeachment today, it wouldn't be over till the election or past the election. So why even start it now? You know, it's really a waste of our time. Better to put our efforts into not getting him reelected. That's the best form of impeachment. Yeah.
Well, there are some people arguing that an impeachment hearing, as opposed to the actual impeachment vote itself, would educate the country further about what he's been doing that is not, if not illegal, is not right.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. We got more candidates on the Democratic side.
Somebody please go home.
It's like a gangbang. You know,
Yeah.
it's really, and then it looks like Biden's going to be in it on Thursday. Which I think is a mistake personally, but let him go ahead and try. But which one of these candidates would be best for your readers, your older audience that reads your blog? Which of these candidates is speaking best to their needs?
I don't want to select a candidate based on anything that narrow. It would be the same as doing it for how I felt about abortion or gun ownership and that sort of thing. The country needs help, the whole country, include old people, young people, everybody.
Yeah.
And the person, I mean, I'm not making any decisions yet, and you know, we've got all the primaries to go through, which will change everything. But I'm really impressed with that guy whose last name I can't pronounce.
I was going to say the same thing. He is my favorite of the whole bunch.
I mean, he's smart, he's thoughtful, he's put a whole lot of work into his positions. He's a reasonable human being. You know, the other one who's about his age that got a little ahead of him for a while, the one who always stands on tables and does this while he's talking.
Yeah, but
he's a little bit too volatile.
He was
for
too
me.
goofy. He was too goofy. But this guy, I think, could be the Trump killer. And here's why I think he could be the Trump killer. What can Trump say about him? I mean, he's gay, but he can't go after that because he's so openly gay that the president would look kind of like homophobic if he even said anything about it.
I don't think he cares, though. He doesn't care what he looks like to people.
But look, you got a guy here who went to Harvard, right? Speaks 9 languages, I think it is.
I know. Is that amazing?
By the way, plays the piano. I just thought I'd throw that one in as another plus. He served 2 tours in Afghanistan. All right. What in the world can Trump say bad about this guy?
I mean, he's only, he's 36, 37, and he's truly a Renaissance man.
Oh, by the way, Trump can't say he hasn't had experience because he's had more experience than Trump did.
Trump did, right, yes. But, of course, Trump, it doesn't matter to Trump what he says, whether it's a lie or not. He just keeps saying it anyway. But, I just, we'll see what happens. I'm not ready to make a pick yet, but I hope people pay attention to him. I think he's quite a brilliant man.
He's like
and he's not, I always kind of liked Al Gore, but he was kind of above it all.
Mm-hmm.
And Mayor Pete is not above it all.
Right.
And I just think he's so incredibly sane, has so many good ideas, has really put thought into it, cares about the country, is a reasonable human being when he stands up there and talks. You
and I both agree on this, and I look at all the other candidates and I go, am I wrong for saying, for instance, that Biden's too old? What's his name from Vermont? Bernie Sanders. I think too old for the job. I think
now give me the reason behind the too old.
Okay, too old is I know how I am at 79. Okay,
mm-hmm.
I don't know that I would have the strength day to day to go through that thing as easily as a younger person would. I mean, I think Mayor Pete, if he became president, would start hit the ground running. Okay. Biden would hit the ground walking. All right.
I don't see anything wrong with that. But I agree with you about the day-to-day work. I mean, you wouldn't know it from President Trump, but it's hard work to be a real president. He's not a real president.
Right.
Trump.
Right.
But to be a real, and by the way, there's something I've been meaning to bring up with people I'm talking politics with, is do you remember the days, now this is a stretch after 3 years of Trump,
yeah,
but do you remember the days when we never heard anything about the president unless he signed something or met a dignitary? He went about his business in the White House.
Yeah.
Once in a while he went to the Rose Garden to sign something, or he had the head of another country come to visit, and we saw pretty pictures of the state dinner and that sort of thing. But unless he did something big, he went about his business and we went about ours. We didn't hear from him every day.
All we have to do for that is go back to Obama. I mean, you heard from Obama about maybe once every week, right? Meanwhile, he was just doing the job. And by the way, I think the perfect age for being president, because he never looked winded from the job. He never looked exhausted from the job. On the other hand, he was old enough to have the life experience to take care of a lot of the things that he did. And he didn't start out being a great president, but I think by the end of his 2 terms, I think he learned how to be a pretty good one.
Well, that seems to be the way we do it.
Right? Yeah, well, I mean, let's face it. It is an earn while you learn job. Nobody else has that job prior to having that job unless it's a re-election. So for instance, Mayor Pete has better experience because at least he knows budgets and, having to deal with running a government.
A bureaucracy, yes.
Yeah, and I don't think even Obama had that ability because he was a senator. Governors usually make the best presidents in a lot of cases because they've had to go through those same procedures, just now amped up to a whole country. Get what I'm saying? So, anyway, I was watching today. I was watching Kirsten Gillibrand, who I have absolutely no love for after what she did to what's his name, the guy from Saturday Night Live, Franken.
Yes.
After what she did to Franken, I consider her the worst of all possible human beings, and was guilty of eating our own, and took a really good lefty out of play. But she was on today with Andrea Mitchell, and I watched her, and I just said, "Give up! Don't even run! Don't even try! You haven't even you can't even get out of the gate. You haven't got the she doesn't talk things like you want to hear. She doesn't look very good. I mean, all the things.
Back up. What
Listen.
does this look very good?
Oh, look very good is very important because today we're living in a televised age. And it's important.
I think she looks like a perfectly fine woman.
She looks like a perfectly fine woman, but her looks are a little on the severe side, you know.
But if the guy, there are guys that have never smiled in Congress, and you don't object to their looks.
Well, I'm not objecting to her looks from a look standpoint. I'm saying that all of politics now is cosmetic as well as it is political. You know, that's one of the reasons we kind of like Mayor Pete. He's young, he's youthful. He looks good. You know, he speaks well. You know, so yes, he is television worthy. I'm trying to think who else is television worthy. Not a lot of them, believe it or not.
They all are.
Huh?
They all are.
Well, I don't know, but I just think I'm looking at who can win, and I think Mayor Pete could win. I think he could win, and I think he could win because...
Do you think people our age in large enough numbers, and we're the largest voting bloc,
Yeah.
do you think they would vote for someone his age?
I think they would get behind him, yes. Yeah.
And, okay.
Here's what it comes down to.
But you know, most people 65 and older who vote are Republicans.
Okay, but here's what it gets down to. It gets down to the message. What are you saying to the people, and how convincing are you in what you're saying? And you can get into some of that Republican bloc by appealing to those people and their needs as well as those of the people on the left, okay? So it's a matter of message. And I think a lot of older women would look at him and say, he's so cute, I think I'll vote for him. He's such a nice boy.
Looks just like my
Plus,
son, right?
I'm going to say one other thing, and this has to do with the homophobia in this country, which would be a problem a little bit for Mayor Pete, and that is that he doesn't come across as being particularly gay or straight. He comes across just as Mayor Pete, you know? There's not that fey quality that some gays would bring to it. He's just, you know, yeah, I mean, he looks good. He looks good enough to be gay, but outside of that, you know.
I don't. We could have a long conversation about what looks gay or not.
Well, believe me, I can point to some people, and you can get a guy from the Himalayas who will point to him and go, gay, you know. I mean, but in the case of Mayor Pete, he's not the kind. He's almost like Obama in that Obama was a black guy who really didn't exude blackness, okay? At least when he was running. He kind of he was the kind
Alex, I got to interrupt you. I can't wait until people see this tape.
What I'm talking about here, Ronnie, is I'm talking about perception, okay? And what people feel comfortable with. I've got to say that Obama was a black guy who a lot of white people could feel very comfortable with, okay? If you had another black guy who was very black, I mean, had really a real black patois to him, I think that he would have had a harder time. I think that there was a kind of thing about it, well, his mother was white, so he's half white. They kind of that gay, you know, but yet he in public kisses his husband. And I think that's wonderful. I think it's a wonderful message, and I think if he can keep doing that and get away with it and sell it to America, they'll go, well, you know, being gay ain't so bad. You know? But love is love.
You know?
Yeah.
From your lips to God's ears. You know?
Yeah.
I'm not sure about him yet, but of all those, 674 Democrats who are running, he's my favorite so far.
Yeah. I'm glad you feel that way.
And I wouldn't not vote if it came down to Trump versus Bernie or Biden. I'd have no trouble voting for either of them instead, age or not. Trump is dangerous. They're just old.
We've run out of time. In fact, we've run over by about 5 minutes. This may be the longest one we've done, which shows all the spunk you have going and the elan and whatever. And I'm sure a lot of people will have enjoyed what we talked about today because they love the politics. They're eager for the politics. They're hooked on politics. Anyway, you can find Ronnie Bennett at timegoesby.net. Anything else that you're cooking up?
Not right now, no. I have to go grocery shopping. What a bore.
Okay, and I got to go work out, so what a bore.
Yes, absolutely.
I get on a bike and I go nowhere. Anyway, Ronnie, good talk to you. Talk to you in a couple of weeks.
Okay, take good care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
5 years and still talking. This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
And that was, of course, Ronnie Bennett. That is my, in case you're not familiar with her, she's my ex-wife, and we talk a lot. I was reading some of the comments on her blog, and some of her people did not like me in this interview. By the way, I'm sorry I had to start it over again. I don't like to tell you how we make the sausage here or how we kill the pig, but what happens is I'm using a system here where I wish I could just pick up where I left off, and maybe I may set it so that I can do that, you know. I have to check that tomorrow, but it's hard. I can't zip it forward to the place where we left off, so I had to start from the beginning, and that was about 3 minutes worth. So I'm sorry. I pushed something here while I was doing something else, and yeah, it's all, you know. You don't want to know how the sausage is made, okay? Oh, God, but I have to know. Anyway, and I'm a little out of it. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. I had to take pills and so on. Let me go online here. I got a little something to talk about once I get people here. But the Skype lines are now open. The Skype lines are open, and we're ready for people to start calling us, and we'll see what happens here. If we can get everybody in order. Last night we had a real problem, and it doesn't. Oops. Okay. All right. Stop it. Okay, now I go and I got to put somebody up here on the page. There we go. Scuba diver goes there, and then I go there, and there we go. And it looks like we're doing okay tonight. We're not having the problems we had last night. But boy, did we have problems last night.
Yeah, well, you worked them out.
Yeah, we worked them out. Here comes somebody named Eddie Jordan. Do we know Eddie Jordan?
I think his brother plays basketball.
He plays basketball? Okay, hold on a second.
No, it's not Michael Jordan.
Okay, hold on a second, Eddie. I just got to get you on this panel. Let me see here. Come on, do it. There, Eddie Jordan. Okay, wait a minute. Here comes Chris Wallace, and we got to do that, and then we got Chris and or Charlie rather. What am I saying? Chris Wallace. Well,
that's that commie on TV. Right?
He's that commie on TV, Charles Wallace. Yeah, wait a minute, Charlie. Come on, Charlie. How do I? Well, hold on a second.
I'm here.
Okay. I know you're there. We don't have a picture on you, though. That's the reason why I couldn't do it. Okay, now we should be okay. And there's Charlie. Okay, there's our citizen panel so far. Wow. And I think we're fine. I don't think we have a problem tonight. You know what I found out? I don't want to talk too much technical on how this show's done, but I figured out what happened last night. I was Icarus, and I flew too close to the sun. Okay? I decided that I was going to do the show, okay? And I was going to put it out on YouTube, as I always do, and then through another machine, I was going to put it out on Facebook. And for that, I had to use a program I use to get you guys on the screen called NDI, and that goes to the other machine. Well, I found out last night I don't think you can have pictures coming and going at the same time. So I know now never to do that again. Hello there. Have you been on the show before, Mr. Jordan?
Yeah, I called from
How long ago? How long ago?
Well, maybe 3 weeks ago, and had a really bad signal.
His mic is got. I don't know if he's on his right mic.
Yeah,
You hear me?
No, we hear you, but it sounds like you're way far away.
Geez,
Have you got your mic set properly in Skype?
I don't know. I've never used Skype before.
Oh, here we go. Well, you said
he called from Thailand. They said, and I remember that.
Oh, okay. All right.
Would it be better if I just got rid of the headphones and went right to the laptop?
Yeah, probably.
Probably. But the thing is that what? Oh boy. What do you? Let's see here. How do we tell him how to do this, Phil?
Let's see what happens now that he's ditched the earphones.
Okay.
How's this? Is this better?
Much better.
Much better. Yeah.
Okay. You got a winner.
Oh, okay. All righty.
They got the mic in the earpiece somewhere.
I see. That was the problem.
For listening before.
Yeah. Now you called us from Thailand, right?
Right, and I could hardly communicate, so we just kind of cut it short last time. About 3 weeks.
I got to put on my glasses. I can't see anything here.
So what were you doing in Thailand?
My wife is Thai, and we were visiting her family.
Mm-hmm. Let me see.
Do they live in a main area or in a village?
Pretty much a village outside of Pitsanulok, which is north.
Oh, Pitsanulok. I know that. That's just next to Poughkeepsie.
Yeah. Oh, Patrick, call us back again. I did something wrong or something, and I didn't get you.
It's like a 6-hour drive from Bangkok if you want to have her in the neighborhood.
Wow. Yeah, this guy I know lives a little ways out of Karat, and he's the only white person in the village, and he married a Thai gal.
So where are you calling from right now? Thailand as well?
No, Vallejo, California.
Oh, Vallejo, California. Okay, another exotic port of called.
Yeah.
I'm down the street in Walnut Creek.
Yeah. Patrick, if you're out there, call again. I don't know what happened to the call. There we go. Here comes Patrick again. All right. Now I push the button, and Patrick should be brought in. There we go. Yes. Okay. Now I need to.
Looks like Patrick.
Huh? Yeah.
Looks like Patrick.
Yeah. Once I got, I've also gotten used to these names like Darth Pat that he uses. Hello, Patrick. How are you this evening?
Super dandy.
And look, it's all working. Okay. All right. It doesn't look like we're freezing up or anything like that. So, I'm fine. Okay.
You're also pretty much in sync.
Yeah.
With
the
YouTube.
Yep. I'm getting all this stuff solved, right? And probably a day or two, I'm getting my machine back. So, what did I do it for? Now
you know the settings when you set the machine back up.
Well, no, I don't know the settings because what I do is I take the backup disk that I have, and I back it up, and so the machine will then open up like it was before I even took it to the store. So all the old settings will be there, and I have to learn them all over again. So anyway, let me tell you a story. So I had this tooth removed, right? And I was looking very forward to getting this thing they call a clipper. Yeah, it's it's fake tooth. I talked to this woman who's been my dentist, and she just, I think, overcharges me on everything. So Marjorie's been seeing this new dentist. So I called them up and I said, how much would this kind of thing cost me? And they said, about $500. Well, my doctor had said $875. All right. So I said, I'm making an appointment with you. So I called my old dentist and said, I'm going to somebody else because they can do it cheaper. So now I go to see this dentist. And I was just talking to the woman in the office. And I sit with the person in the dentist. And I say to her, so I want a clipper. And she says, well, we don't do clippers anymore. I said, what do you mean you don't do clippers anymore? And she said, we don't do clippers anymore because years ago we found that they caused several kinds of problems, not the least of which is you could swallow them and choke. Okay? And so I won't do a clipper. I won't do that for you. But what we could do is, of course, a bridge. And then she looked at my mouth and she said, well, we have to see if those two teeth are healthy on either side to be able to take out, to put a crown on, because you take, a bridge is like the tooth plus a crown on either side and then put in there. And I went, I'm thinking, boy, now this is starting to cost money.
How much difference is it than an implant?
I said, well, this one, let me finish. I said, this one isn't, this tooth, I said, is not you don't have to worry about that tooth. That's good to go because that's an implant. And she says, oh, then we can't do a bridge. Because what they have to do is they have to take off the crown from the implant, which is a special kind of crown, and they couldn't do that. And then she looked at the other tooth and she said, well, it's a little weak. She said, that tooth's maybe got another 10 years in it. And I figure I don't have 10 years, so, And she said, but even if it were perfect, she said, we can't do it because the other tooth is an implant. I said, so what's the only option? She said, implant.
Yeah. What's her price?
Much cheaper.
Really?
Well, much cheaper is I spent close to $5,500, maybe closer to $6,000 the last time I had an implant put in. My doctor charged me, first of all, $2,500 to put the implant in. Okay, and that included $300 for a CT scan, so that took it up to $2,800. They say they can do the implant for $1,800. Okay, a little bit difference in price. Also, then the actual tooth itself, the crown, the abutment that goes on there is another $800, and then the crown is $1,500. And my dentist charged me $2,000 for the crown.
Yeah. Did they tell you that they only had canine teeth?
Well, they told
available?
me it would only come out to $4,000. Now I imagine a bridge would cost $2,000 at least, but they can't do a bridge. The only thing they can do is an implant.
It's going to cost close to $10 to get across the Golden Gate pretty soon. So, that's not bad.
Yeah. So I mean, that the problem is I have no choice but to get an implant, which is the thing I didn't want, or go back to my old dentist and get a clipper and choke to death. So who knows? There's some kind of crosstalk going on here. I don't know who it's coming from.
I don't know.
Well, I don't care. But anyway,
that's tech stuff.
So anyway, that was this isn't tech stuff. This is dental stuff.
Crosstalk is tech.
And but they can do it for about $4,000, and so Marjorie's going to loan me the money from her house loan or whatever what do you call it, loan that she has, and we'll and my insurance will take care of half of it, so. So I'm going to get the implant, but I don't have to do it now. I got to wait 3 months for this mouth to cure anyway. So, we'll just sit.
Are they going to need to grow any bone or anything?
Well, she said no, that wasn't necessarily needed. They do it, but it wasn't necessarily needed. They can do it though. I mean, I'll talk to her and see what the story is. But she said no, you don't have to do that. Yeah. I think that's something they do because it's nice to do, But
well, maybe they need, sometimes bone recedes when you have a bad tooth, and they need something to drill into to put.
She said it looked like they could get the thing in there and everything,
Yeah.
So, I'll talk to her more about it. We're waiting for Delta to get back to us with the price, because they also.
How much is an implant in Thailand? Do you know? People go to Thailand just to get medical work done.
Yeah, Eddie. How much does it cost in Thailand?
I couldn't tell you. I know it's a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
Luckily, I went to the emergency room once, or urgent care one time when I was there.
Yeah.
And I got walked through because I was having like back spasms from being on the plane, and then the train, and then the minivan, and all this.
Yeah.
And I sat in the waiting room like 5 minutes, went back, saw the doctor, got a relaxer shot, got took to the pharmacy. My medicine was waiting there for me with the bill for like $35.
Wow. Yeah. How come everybody has better medical care than we do? And
that's because they're all a bunch of con men, and they're all raping the system.
Oh, I see.
And we're their marks.
Yeah, I see.
Yep.
Oh, you mean here?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think it's nice to have a dentist who at least is giving me some kind of a reasonable price, and also my dentist who sent all my bills off to Delta Dental so I could get money back. I think never had anything going with Delta Dental, because what they want to do is call Delta Dental and see what Delta Dental feels the right price is. You get a discount on your tooth work if you have dental insurance. Like this tooth to get it pulled was going to cost $750, but it was only $500 because I had Delta Dental. So, and then part of that gets paid back by Delta Dental. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what the price comes out to. But it's an ongoing procedure, and I'll probably go to her and have my teeth cleaned. What the hell, get the X-rays done.
You can always get them sharpened. Too.
Yeah, yeah. But the only reason I didn't want to get an implant is if I were 50 years old, I'd get an implant in a second. But I'm 79 years old. I could get an implant in another 6 months, and by December I could be dead. So I mean,
That's nice.
Can you donate those implants to
Jeff says
someone
that's
else?
nice. What? No. Mm-mm.
Like you can with corneas and.
Here's the other part that bothers me. Okay, I've already got 2 implants. All right. I die. I'm rotting in my grave. At some point, maybe they want to dig me up, and I'm nothing but dust except for the implants. They're still there. They're still around.
I always thought teeth last a long time.
I think so. Yeah. Well, anyway. Well, you can say your dentist screwed you. So anyway. So is there anything happening in the news? I mean, besides Trump bitching and moaning?
I guess Kim Jong-un is being entertained in Moscow by Vladimir Putin. Did he arrive there already?
I have no idea.
They were having some sort of summit.
I didn't know he was going because I watch MSNBC and they don't cover that sort of stuff.
Okay.
All they ever cover is something to bitch and moan about Trump.
Yeah.
Isn't Trump jealous that Un's going to Moscow?
No. I mean, Trump should.
He's visiting the Queen, and now there's some sort of controversy as to whether he's going to speak to Parliament. So that's
here. I'll tell you something I saw the other day that really kind of bothered me, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, but they had the Easter Bunny on the lawn of the White House, which next to Melania and Donald really looked bizarre, because this wasn't just your normal Easter rabbit. This one obviously has vision problems because he's wearing glasses. And
luckily it wasn't Biden.
And Trump gets up there and he goes, and I want to welcome the kids and their families to a 147-year tradition. I want to thank Melania for getting it together so well. And I thought, okay, that's nice. A moment out from politics to just have a romp on the lawn of the White House. And then what is that crosstalk? Jeez. Something's out there. Something is out there. I don't know what. But anyway, and And then all of a sudden, he breaks out into this speech about how the economy's been the best it ever's been, and how the wall's getting built, and this and that. And he starts talking about all his achievements. That was highly inappropriate considering the circumstances. That's not the time to give a political speech. But he went on for I don't know if you saw it, but he went on for like 10, 15 minutes with this, how wonderful I am and how wonderful I've been at doing stuff. Meanwhile, flanked by this bunny rabbit with glasses on. It was bizarre. It was just bizarre. What are you looking at, Phil?
I was just looking at the North Korea upbeat as he arrives for Putin's summit.
Yeah, well, I mean, I imagine Trump could go and he could blow Putin off while he's there.
No, we'll see what happens.
But no, I just found that. Don't you find that a little bizarre, Phil? Don't you think that's the wrong place to politicize?
You mean the Easter roll?
Yeah.
No.
No, why? Why?
Well, there's a lot of kids there, and you got to tell them what you've done. They want to know.
They want to know. Yeah, so they'll vote for you in the next election.
Yeah.
I see.
Well, they can't vote unless they're felons. That's right. And in prison, then they can vote per Bernie
Well,
Sanders.
I think it's. Let's see here. Where do we have? Where do we have? I'm looking for where we have Tony. Hold on a second.
I heard about your implant that was in my room. That's crazy. We should have free dental.
Oh, of course we should have free. We should have free everything.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Tony.
And now my dentist, Alex, he goes like this. Oh, the teeth look good. He goes, but I could do like a bridge on top for $4,000. I'm like, get the hell.
Oh, I see. A bridge is $4,000.
You ought to get caps.
He says you don't have to pay at once. He says I'm not paying at all. I'm saying to myself.
I'm not. They wanted me. They said you have to. I have to have a bridge for this tooth. But then, then they said that I can't have a bridge because on one side I have an implant. Oh, thank God! I went out and got this wonderful implant so that I couldn't get a middle tooth here.
I said, what am I looking for?
So I'm walking around with missing a tooth, and you know what that means? I have to vote
for next life.
I have to vote.
Flossing.
No, I said I have to vote for Trump. Because I'm missing a tooth. It's required in America that if you miss a tooth, you have to vote for Trump.
I'll look that one up on Snopes.
You will find it on Snopes too.
I didn't say anything. I just was like, okay, yeah, quote me that price.
Yeah,
I'm not paying. I left that dentist. I'm not giving him anything. I said.
Yeah. Well, tonight everything's perfect. I'm not out of sync. My lips are moving at the same time I talk. Everything's going out okay. Thank goodness. The only thing that went wrong was I accidentally stopped the interview with Ronnie and had to start it over again. But if that's the worst that happens tonight, I'm okay with that.
Wow. Notre Dame,
What?
they found cigarette butts. It seems that the scaffolding people said that the workers were smoking, and that's maybe what burned down an 850-year-old building.
I bet you they weren't union workers, Phil.
In France, they're all union. Yeah.
Never know. Maybe the church was taking a cheap way out.
That's
Well,
for sure.
To begin with, that place was a tinderbox.
Oh, was there?
Oh yeah, that roof area was very, very much a tinderbox. But if you look at what happened, it's really the roof that burned, and the spire fell down. But the spire is only about 100 and some odd years old. It's fairly new.
Yeah. Well, they said that the building was built over a 200-year period, starting in the 12th century. So it was probably a union job if it took 200 years.
Yeah, definitely. And socialism made it go even slower.
Yeah.
Well,
why should they work?
Do you realize that was around when they were chopping heads off with guillotines during the French Revolution? I mean, that thing's been around for a long time. And I think pretty much the stone frame around it is pretty much intact. And it looks like the damage to the inside is basically the roof that fell in. So
it's
that
an
can
engineering
be
marvel. Those things are called flying buttresses.
They're flying buttresses, yeah. Yeah,
And,
they were invented for that particular edifice, and from then on became the way you built churches in those days.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Very good architectural understanding.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I bet they had medical insurance too. Anyway,
they're going to need it.
What do you think about this guy, Phil? I want to know. I got to get your take on this because I don't know why I got to get your take on it. But I got to get your take on it. What is the what do you think of the guy in down by the Mexican border who's the head of this militia who they arrested?
We got somebody.
Well, he's a private citizen.
Yeah.
And he's holding people.
Oh, also he's an ex-felon, I might add. What?
Oh, really? So he shouldn't be in possession of a firearm.
That's correct.
Except if Bernie gets elected, you can't have a firearm, but you can use a bomb, kill people at the Boston Marathon, and still get the vote.
From
Well, that he shouldn't let the jailbirds vote.
Wait a minute, Phil. What was that all about? That made no sense.
The CNN, there was a town hall the other day, and Bernie was asked, "Do you think that felons should get the vote?" And he said, not only should they get the vote, but then they said, "What if it's a murderer like a terrorist like Tsarnaev?" And he says he should be able to vote too.
Well, I mean, you can't, Phil. If you're going to believe that felons have the right to vote, and by the way, the very conservative state of Florida has voted that should be so.
But not while they're in prison.
Okay.
When they get out of prison.
Did they ask Bernie if while they were in prison should they get the vote?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he said yes.
I agree.
Oh yeah, so let's get a couple of terrorists in there voting. Yeah.
Well, they still get the vote.
Oh, that Bernie really shot himself in the foot over that one.
Well, I just think
the Constitution doesn't say because you got convicted of a crime you can't vote. It doesn't say that anywhere in the Constitution.
No, but it does say you can possess a firearm if you're an American citizen.
Can I tell you a very interesting story? Many years back. You all know who Jack Benny and George Burns were.
Oh, I love Jack.
Oh, yeah, he's a felon.
Well, they were best of friends. And they went to France. And they on vacation. And while they were in France, George, who was always looking for a deal, said, listen, I know a guy who's a diplomat American diplomat here in Paris. And if we buy some jewelry and stuff, he can take it back in his diplomatic pouch, and there's no way they can go through his diplomatic pouch. And we won't have to pay what do you call it? Import taxes.
Booty. Maybe they could save money.
Import taxes. Okay. So they went and they bought these things for Mary and for Gracie, and. They gave them to the guy, and he put it in his pouch, and they went back to the United States. And it seems they stopped the guy, and they looked in his pouch, and they found this stuff, and they said, what's that? And he said, well, Jack Benny and George Burns. Next thing you know, they arrest Benny and Burns and charge them with smuggling, okay, which is a felony.
Yeah.
Nice.
George Burns immediately pleads guilty and gets a year and a day, which means if he got a year and a day, you don't get to ever vote again.
Or own a gun.
And then it was a suspended sentence. Benny, on the other hand, held out. He was kind of the Lori Loughlin of the group. He held out, and he didn't do it for a while, and finally he admitted that he was guilty. And they charged him and gave him a year and a day suspended. Okay, neither of them could ever vote. Neither of them could ever vote again.
Oh, so you do lose your right then if you get arrested.
So I often wanted to make a movie called the Benny Burns caper, about this crime they committed, because I was told the story by Shecky. And I didn't believe it, and he sent me a copy of an item from the New York Times that said that Jack Benny today just pleaded guilty. His friend George Burns did a few months ago. and it told the whole story of what was what went on. So that's the great Benny Burns caper. So
Imagine if Jack had to go to jail, Alex. He never would have lasted. He would have got right out. They could never hold him in there.
yeah, right.
He could have entertained them.
Yeah. But anyway, so they
Did the ladies get the jewelry?
No, they didn't. No, it was confiscated. It was confiscated. But I always thought that was a great unknown story about Benny and Burns, that they were both felons.
Phil, and look how great they are.
Yeah.
So
No, how great they were. They're both dead, and that'll show you.
Florida,
That will show you what fame gets you. Eventually, you drop dead. Okay?
Yeah, but I still love them.
Huh?
I like watch the show on Saturday. Sometimes I got the DVD.
Yeah.
I'm on the radio, Mom, with Alex. She's actually walking the. Let me check on her now. We get all the. She's like
Boy,
the
this
eavesdropper.
is
you
so
stay
Norman.
upstairs
This is
now?
so Norman Bates, for crying out
you
loud.
know,
You're
aren't
right.
you supposed
This
to
is
be in
it.
the basement?
Well,
I
no,
know that
I
Notre
come
Dame
over.
burned down, so it's.
I go up and down like I go up and down like an elevator. Hold on a second. Don't you sleep?
Now his dad died, right? I'm trying to remember the whole story going on here.
He wanted.
Do you want us, Ed, Eddie? You
I
want
think
us to
it's
keep
the
you?
father.
Want to keep you up with this story with Tony?
I think it was the father that made him stay in the basement.
I've listened to all your podcasts. So.
Yeah. So you know what was up. His father died, and now he's taking care of his mother, and he has a job packing hats at a hat factory. But he is now trying to get a job being his mother's caregiver, and the city will pay him money to be her caregiver. So he's trying to get that job. So that's why he runs off every now and then and says, you know, Mom, I just killed a woman down in the motel.
You're next.
Yeah.
Nah, he won't kill her because he wants the job.
Yeah, right. No, it's important that she lives, you know. But here's what happens, the Norman Bates thing. If she does die, and I'm saying this while he's not here, but if she does die, he'll probably stuff her and keep her in the other room so he can keep getting the money.
Oh, yeah. Just put her in a chair.
You know, that really should have been the story of Norman Bates. Not that he, you know, Mom was stuffed because he wanted to get the money from the city to say he was her caregiver. Oh, hello, Tony. Welcome back.
She doesn't sleep. It's like go back in the coffin.
Tony, if I had that
Oh,
wallpaper, Tony, if I had that wallpaper, I couldn't sleep either.
I love it. Oh my God, she's trying.
Hey,
She's
listen,
worried.
listen. I don't wish your mother ill, but if and when she does die, and I think there's a part of you that kind of yearns for that moment. The first thing you should do before anything else is change that fucking wallpaper.
I know. It's kind of bad, Alex. It's like from the 70s.
From the 70s?
I would say maybe
that
the
looks
80s.
like that looks like something. That looks like wallpaper from the honeymooners. You know.
It doesn't even match. My brother said it's like crazy. He's like, "What is this?" I said, "I don't know. We didn't pick it out." Nah, she's been doing better. She's worked.
I booked into a cheap hotel room in Paris once, and it had wallpaper like that on all sides of it and the ceiling. And after about a day in that room, I was ready to kill somebody.
It's hard to sleep up here sometimes.
You know, in Paris,
I feel like the walls are attacking me.
The cheap hotel rooms are very small. Could you touch the walls with your arms?
Yes.
You know.
Yes, and it wasn't a cheap hotel room. What it was is I needed a hotel room for just one night. See, I have a theory. If you're going to get a hotel room in a foreign country and you're traveling around and it's for one night, you could sleep in the skeeziest room that exists, and it doesn't matter because you're going into that room, you're closing your eyes, you're going to sleep. The next thing you know, you're going to wake up, you're going to grab your luggage, you're going to go down to the car and get the hell out of there, right? So it doesn't matter really what the room is like. Now, if you're going to spend 2 days there, well, then you need a nicer room. And if you're going to spend a week there, you better go get yourself a beautiful, setup. But this was a case of we were going to be in Paris overnight to catch the plane, and it was the first place we could find, and we said, okay, what the hell, what the fuck, Although I was in a hotel room in Amsterdam once, where I went to an orgy in Amsterdam. That's how far I'll travel to have sex. There was an orgy in Amsterdam, and my friend Al Goldstein said, "You want to come with me?" And I said, "Okay." So we go there, and by the way, we get to the orgy and nobody shows up. Now, can you imagine an orgy being so bad nobody will show up for it? You know.
Well, they knew Al Goldstein would be there.
Yeah, but anyway, Al says, I got us some hotel rooms. He said, "Oh, okay." So we go to this hotel, and it's a very nice hotel. And the guy then takes us up one floor, another floor, another floor. Finally, we're on the top floor, and now all the rooms look like shit. It was the worst rooms you've ever seen in your life. And Al says, "Well, I'll take this room over here." And I said, "Okay, I'll take this room over here." And it's got a skylight, but no curtain, no shade, nothing. And I'm trying to go to sleep during the day, and this thing is just blaring at me. That was finally, I think he found us another hotel room. I said, "Boy, I'm never letting you be my tour guide ever again." You know, and then you take me to an orgy and nobody's fucking. Come on. You know, what's that? It was called the Wet Dream Festival, for Christ's sake. Somebody should be fucking. So, anyway. Just another little wonderful part of my life, folks. By the way, I just put up all the, on the front page of Gabnet, all my life in the passing lanes. And you can play them right from that thing right there, because there's a little button you can push on each episode and it will play it. And you can scroll through them, and it looks pretty good, actually. So, yeah, whatever. So, you know, there was a very good article in the New York Times yesterday, and Marjorie read it and then showed it to me. And it was about the whole question of impeachment. And I don't know how many of you in this room are for impeachment. Are you, Charlie? Are you for impeachment?
Yes.
How about you, Eddie? How you doing on impeachment?
I think it's about time for impeachment.
Okay, Jeff, how about you?
I think the problem is you're going to lose anyway at this point. So why waste your time?
Yeah, how about you? Tony?
Oh, I would say no, because I think you're just going to waste your time with it.
And of course, we all know Phil is for impeachment, so I don't even have to ask him.
What is it, Adam Schiff? Is he the guy that's the head of the Judiciary Committee that for the last 2 years said he had guaranteed proof that Trump colluded with the Russians and he was a traitor? Well, if that's the guy, I want him impeached.
You can't impeach him. For what?
Well, I could push him off the cliff.
You know,
because you know he's impugned Trump.
Well, you can say that and whatever.
Himself.
But here's the thing:
you should be pissed. He misled all of you. He told you.
I never listened. Do you want to know something? I never listened to Adam. Is his first name?
I think it is Adam Schiff.
Schiff. I never listened to a word he said in the last couple of years. I didn't even know he existed to the last 3 weeks. Okay.
Well, that's where you were getting all your talking points from.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, he's a traitor.
No,
he's in bed with Putin. Putin is the one that voted to get Trump in office. That's where you got all your shit from.
Well, I get all my shit from my colon, like most people. Okay.
Well, that's where he got the shit.
Okay. Anyway,
he pulled it out of his ass.
Here's what this person was saying, and they're quite right. He said, you know, they shouldn't even be thinking about it. You know, that it's kind of at this point it has no purpose. Why make
politics.
Why if you go and impeach Trump, the Republicans are going to back him, and it's going to make Trump look like he's being attacked. If you don't do it, Trump, by his own means, will ruin the Republican Party. But he will save it if he gets us to try to impeach him. Yes, Charlie. Charlie, are you frozen, Charlie?
Yeah, what frozen?
Charlie, are you
problem
there?
with that is then there's
Oh, there we go. Okay, go ahead, Charlie. Now he's in.
then there are no consequences for people who in the presidency for doing things against the law, because apparently the only consequence for breaking the law is impeachment, because the Justice Department is never going to go after a president while he's in office.
He didn't break the law. If he didn't collude, how could he obstruct?
He broke the law over and over again. He broke the law when he made money off of Mar-a-Lago.
What did Adam Schiff tell you that?
When he had all of these. What do you mean? He told us. Trump told us.
You know that Trump has donated all the proceeds from the hotel in Washington, D.C. That.
No, I didn't know that.
Yes, all the proceeds from anyone that was like a foreign person or some sort of political person, those proceeds were donated. They were given back to the government.
Good for him.
Well,
what about Mar-a-Lago?
What about Mar-a-Lago? They had to go somewhere. You know, that's hey, if Bush went to Kennebunkport, or the other Bush went to his ranch in Waco, Texas, or Reagan.
I'm not worried about Trump going there. I'm worried about Trump making money by all those other people going there.
Yes, but when all those other people would go to when Obama, we're getting the kickback. When Obama would take everybody to when he was on vacation, he would go to Hawaii, but Obama didn't own anything until he got out of the presidency. Then he owned everything. But Bush, their family was very wealthy. Bush Sr. had a place in
Obama
Kennebunkport.
was very wealthy after he was president.
Well, before he was president, his father was wealthy. Making nice with the Nazis, I think.
He's talking about Bush, not Obama.
Right. I'm talking about Bush. Obama didn't have squat. And but he left with $40 million.
No, he didn't. Doesn't have $40 million bucks.
He had a house worth $700,000 in Chicago when he became president, and he had a mortgage that was a sweetheart deal from one of his people. Now he gets out of the presidency and he's got $40 million as his net worth.
His net worth is. Are you ready for this, Phil?
Yeah.
And this is as of. Well, no, that was in. 2008. What is it? Here we go. What is his net worth now? Supposedly, and this is.
He made millions off of his book.
Yeah,
oh yeah.
Yeah. This is 2008. He was worth $3 million in 2008.
I think it's 40 now.
Yeah, I'm seeing 40 million too.
Yeah.
You're seeing 40. What is his net worth?
Business Insider. I just looked it up. It says 40.
It's 30. It's the Obamas were 30 times more than they were when they entered the White House.
They had 700,000 when they entered the White House in assets.
I think they made it with books and things like that.
Yeah, and he's made all
Did he
kinds
keep
of
his
speeches.
Nobel? Did he keep the $1 million Nobel Prize?
No, he donated that to charity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the Obama charity.
Yeah. Well, the way in which you make a lot of money for being president is when you're no longer president. People want you to give speeches, and they want you to write books, and you get the royalties from the books. And she wrote a book which is a bestseller. Marjorie, in fact, has been reading it and says it's a very good read. And so that's selling well.
And
so
Hillary Clinton is worth $100 million, I believe. Is that right, Ed? You probably find it in the same place. Hillary Clinton's worth $100 million.
Really?
Yeah. Now, and remember, they were bankrupt when 15, 18 years ago.
Look, there are a lot of ways.
You think her book, It Takes a Village?
She was making $250,000 a speech at Goldman Sachs.
Yeah,
she was making tons of money.
No, but here's what we're saying here is that I don't think there's anything wrong with a former president making money off of having been a former president, as long as they didn't make that money after they're president. And as you say, the Clintons left the presidency almost paupers. I mean, they didn't have a lot of money because they had to spend all that money on lawyers for the impeachment, things like that.
Yeah,
but then they wrote books and they made speeches.
I found her taxes that she released.
What'd you say?
Taxes that she released.
Yeah, she did release her taxes, didn't she?
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah, and she doesn't even. Oh, well, did she release them when she was running for president? Has she released them lately?
I don't know. It's just,
Did the same article give her net worth?
it says here that like 250 million, but most of that was from Bill. 189 million from Bill Clinton, leaving Hillary with 51 million.
Oh, okay. I thought she had 100, but between them, it's close enough.
$4 billion between the two of them.
Unbelievable.
What do you mean unbelievable? What's unbelievable about it?
It's perfectly believable.
Yeah. Well, I guess to begin with, she was working on those shovel-ready jobs.
Well, no, to begin. No, shut up, Phil. Jeez Almighty, you know. The fact of the matter is that they both everybody wanted to hear him speak because he was a great speaker, and so he did a lot of those speaking engagements, and he did them at did he do them like at $1 million a clip or 250,000 a clip?
Yeah, it's at least 250,000.
And he'd do like 5 of them a week. I mean, he made a lot of money off the speeches. He made a lot of money off the book. You know, I mean, don't deny these people the fact that they took a $400,000 a year job in which they had to work 24/7, and after it was over, they made money from it.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
I mean, well, look, you're not talking about all the senators who, for instance, when they quit the Senate, then go get themselves a job on was it K Street or whatever, as a lobbyist, and make tens of millions doing that, and they turn their Senate, their $165,000 a year Senate job into a pretty decent living. I don't know that I hold that against somebody because that's considered part of what you do. You know,
do you think that there's undue influence, that they know that they're gonna vote certain ways so that they know they're going to get this position in the future, and that they're fucking us?
Yes.
You know? Yes.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is I don't think, for instance, the Obamas did anything extraordinarily bad to make their money. Obama is a very popular speaker on the speaking circuit because he's whether you like him or not, is very well loved as a former president. He has an empirical reputation. There's nothing sullied about him or anything else. Quite frankly, I don't think when he's out of office that anybody's going to want to hire Trump to speak because he'll just say the same fucking shit over and over again we've already heard.
Yeah, well, they get free hats.
They really.
Yeah, you show up at the speech, you get a hat.
Yeah.
But an interesting thing. There's a poll that says Joe Biden is the front runner over Democrats and over Donald Trump by 8 points. And this is a thing called the Morning Consult Politico poll. Yeah. And so they're giving Biden a lead over Trump, if you believe Politico.
Yeah, I think Biden is going to fall apart like the walls at Notre Dame. I mean, I don't think. It's one thing to say I think I'm running. I think I'm going to run. And everybody going, oh, run, Joe, run, run, run. And then once he's running, everybody going, well, I got my nut off. Now who else is there?
None of those other people are electable.
Oh, I disagree with you.
Your opinion.
I disagree with you.
Run them.
Listen, no.
Where's my Mondale pen?
I'll tell you that to me, the Trump killer is Buttigieg or Buttigieg or Booty Call, whatever his name is.
They came out with some dirt on him, but
what
dirt?
As
a mayor.
What dirt? Oh, yeah, he's gay. Did you hear he was gay?
Yeah, no, as a mayor, he has dealt with some very high-end negotiations. I understand the PTA was trying to come up with a homecoming parade.
Okay, and let me ask you, what kind of experience does Trump have to be president? Buttigieg, whatever the name is. Mayor Pete has more experience in running a government than Trump does.
Yeah, well, of course, there was the time Buttigieg dealt with the woman that had too many chickens in her front yard. And he really handled that well.
That's not funny.
You know,
it's not funny.
Palin
let me
was
tell
a
you,
mayor.
Let me tell you why.
Did you like Palin's experience, Sarah Palin?
Well,
she was a mayor. Do you think that she could have been president?
No,
You saw Alaska, remember?
Phil, it's not what I'm arguing. What I'm arguing here is that this guy has a dossier, which is really
was
quite
he pissing
incredible.
in Russia?
Jesus, can I finish?
All right. Well, you said he had a dossier. Come on, that was fun.
Continue. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. How many thought it was funny? Raise your hand.
I didn't even,
Nobody thought it was funny, Phil.
Well, that's because nobody listens.
Oh, I see. Okay. Anyway,
Yeah.
the point is that that I think that he has a good chance of beating him because number one, a guy who you didn't hear about and you don't have a preconceived opinion about, you're going to listen to more than you are people who you've heard over and over and over again. This guy is fresh, and this guy is unapologetic about his gayness. In fact, I saw a shot of him kissing his husband. I thought that was wonderful. I thought that was brave and not trying to hide who he is or what he is. Yes, Patrick.
I have to inform Phil that he and Josh Wheeler are in 100% agreement on Biden. That he's the only one that's electable.
Where'd you hear that?
As far as
what
Buttigieg kissing his husband, that goes over well in California. It goes over well in New York, and it goes over well in Indiana. I think is that.
It was in such a way. It was in such a way that I don't think even a homophobe would be upset by it.
Look, it doesn't register anywhere else. Let him run. It's going to be another
I'll
Hillary.
tell you, he will take Trump to the cleaners because Trump can't fight him. What can he fight him on?
He doesn't have to fight him. He's stepping on his own dick.
He has to do what Trump does. He has to insult him. He has to come up with a funny name for him and all of that. This is a guy who took two tours in Afghanistan. This is a guy who went to Yale, was it, I think? Or was it Harvard? It was Yale, I believe.
Hey, Trump went to Wharton. Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty damn good school.
Yeah, you can buy your kid into Wharton.
That's Penn, it's,
he went to Harvard.
He went to Harvard. Okay, but I mean,
Pete went to Harvard.
He speaks 7 different languages.
Trump has a hard time with English.
What?
Trump has a hard time with English.
Yeah, Trump has a hard time with English.
Hey, Tony, you should talk.
I know that's true. I gotta sound things out.
I just think, number one, I think, yesterday I saw Kirsten Gillibrand with Andrea Mitchell. And she is, I looked at her and I wanted to just yell at my screen, Kirsten, quit wasting your time. Just get out of the race and get back to representing New York State, okay? Because there's no way in hell you're going to get the nomination. As much as you want it, you're just not going to get it. So why waste your time? I'm a New Yorker. I need my senator working for me and bringing back some pork to the state. Just quit already, And there are quite a few others that I'd say the same thing about, and I don't know what they expect they're going to get out of it. Now, Cory Booker, I can see. Cory Booker's got a shot at being heard, what's her name? The senator from California.
Harris.
No, Kamala
Harris.
Kamala, is it Kamala Harris?
I think so.
Yeah, from California.
You ought to know she's your fucking...
she's not my senator.
Yes, she is.
She may be there.
Well, just like Trump. I understand.
Think that Trump is your president?
No.
Kamala Harris is not my senator.
Oh, okay. All right. And I guess neither is...
She won't prosecute cop killers. when she was DA in San Francisco, she wouldn't go after death penalty for cop killers, and I don't go for that shit.
I know, because you were kind of a cop.
Because I support the police. Because I believe in their mission.
What, beating up black people?
Well, maybe, but no, of course not. And they don't do that. Matter of fact, most of the cops that I know are black.
Yeah, there was this case in, I can't remember where they had on the air the other day, in which this couple were in a car and the cops just started shooting at them. And the two cops that were doing it were black, and I'm going, let's see here, what's the take on this one?
Were they white, the people in the car?
I don't think so.
No. Oh, okay. It was black on black thing. Could have been a drug deal on it.
But no, they were shooting at this car. They told them, get out of the car, and then the guy opens up the door, gets out of the car, they start shooting at him.
Did the guy have a gun?
No.
Yeah.
No, he had no gun. He was not threatening in any way.
True.
Yeah.
If he were white, they wouldn't care if he had a gun or not. They wouldn't have shot him.
Yeah, but this is black on black. Black cop, black driver.
I don't know. I don't know what color he was. All I know is he was a blur on TV. They had the body cams working. And these cops were just shooting at this car, and then they tell the guy, get out of the car, and he gets out of the car, and they start shooting at him.
That'll teach him for running that stop sign.
That's right. Boy, are they strict?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a 25-mile-an-hour zone.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, right, exactly. So anyway, what the hell? So let's see here. So but I was asking about the guy. What do you think about these militias at the border who are trying to do their job to help the border patrol, in spite of the fact the border patrol doesn't want them to help?
Yeah, that's a touchy situation. They're talking about posse comitatus and sending the military down there to.
Is that posse comitatus? What is posse comitatus? You round up a posse comitatus? Is that what you do?
That's the law that you can't use the military police on American soil.
On Americans, but not necessarily on people coming over the borders. The Central Americans and the Mexicans.
Not just Americans. It's on American soil.
Yeah, but no, they can use them to stop people from coming over the border that are breaking American laws that are not American citizens.
Let's get Jeff. Anything to proffer on any of the things we're talking about? Because I want to bring you into the conversation.
Too bad Wheeler's not here. He'd know.
I might like to say something, but
go right ahead.
But anyway, the idea of shooting the people from the cops, I mean, that's kind of crazy stuff. I mean, who knows?
Don't know
why this stuff happened.
Well, I think the problem is I could defer to Phil on this because he would know a little bit more about it. But who's vetting these guys? I mean, I know that they used to be careful in police departments against guys that they considered were guilty of or had the possibility of having what they called a Wyatt Earp syndrome.
I'm going to give you one, Alex.
Yeah.
I was a cop. They vetted me.
Yeah. Well, did they give you any psychological tests to make sure that you didn't have Wyatt Earp syndrome?
Yeah. In the days that they were taking us as level 2s, I became a level 1 subsequent to being hired. But level 2s in those years didn't get a psych test and didn't get a what was it, a lie detector test. But now they do. So I was grandfathered in the days that they didn't do that. If they would have done that, I probably wouldn't have been a cop. I'd been a felon.
Were you able to carry a gun or no?
Oh yeah, I still can carry a gun.
I mean, when you were on duty?
Yeah, I can still carry a gun. It's LEOSA, which is the law enforcement. I forget what the other words stand for, but
they should have paid you for that. No.
Well, I mean, if I wanted to be
they would have
regular,
paid him if he was good at it.
Well, I was good at it. But LEOSA is a law. It's HR 218 that was passed under Bush W. That said anybody who was duly retired and was sworn and carried a gun in the thing can carry a gun now concealed.
I wish I could have found this thing this guy wrote that Marjorie had me read yesterday, but it was very good, and it basically said that it would be a big mistake if the Democrats tried to impeach Trump, that it's better off to let him do what he's doing already, which is taking the Republican Party and turning it into a shambles, and that to go after him in an impeachment would only make people some people take pity on him, and that it would give the Republicans some real fodder against them in the upcoming race, that they need to just concentrate on beating Trump. That if you want to get him out of office, don't impeach him, beat him. Beat him good. So.
Yeah, LEOSA is the Law Enforcement Officers Safety Act, and it was enacted in 2004.
Has anybody come up with a reasonable strategy for stopping Trump?
Well, I think the best strategy is to go out to the American public and play to what they feel are things that are wrong right now. And I think one of the things that's very wrong, I think if you go out on medical care, I think that's a very good one, because I think all Americans, even those that would vote for Trump, know the price they're paying to try and get medical care, or the fact that they don't even have it at all. But that is one good thing that you can go after. I think that you can go after the economy, oddly enough, by saying that the rich are getting richer and the poor are still staying poor, and the middle class is still being crunched. Yeah. And say things that will resound with the average guy out there and the average woman out there, rather than you can't. This whole idea that you can't be too much to the left or to the right, I think you just got to be you, and you got to talk about things you think are needed in this country. And what we need is a rebirth of our goodness, and we've lost that. And what I also like about Mayor Pete is he's quite religious. Now, I'm not for religion. I'm a atheist, but nevertheless, I feel. That his religious feelings and the fact that he is a religious guy will play well in the Bible Belt. So, in other words, he's the good guy. So, what are you doing? What?
I'm trying to get rid of the stench.
What stench?
The stench of what you're talking about. That he's going to do well in the Bible Belt. Oh yeah, I think he's a flash in the pan, and your mayor.
I don't think he's. I think he's.
He's got 8%. He won't have the money. There's too many moneyed interests.
He has he's raised the third largest amount of money.
It's not enough. He's only at 8% approval. He's behind Kamala Harris.
No, he's not at 8. No, he is in the approval ratings I saw. He's not 8%. He's in third place.
Depends on which state.
He's in third place.
Iowa and New Hampshire.
He's in third place after Bernie and Biden and Bernie.
Yeah.
He's in third place. So how do you have him at 8%?
That's what I saw this morning.
Where would you Rasmussen?
Probably.
Yeah,
no,
probably.
Rasmussen. It was CBS that I I was watching. I'm not sure. Okay. They don't use Rasmussen. They use Politico. But let me. Buttigieg. How do you spell that?
Buttigieg.
Say that again.
Buttigieg.
Ranking Democratic, what is it? Democratic candidates.
Ranking. Okay.
Ranking Democratic candidates.
See, here's the question. Can I ask everybody?
Okay, here we go.
Sure,
Bernie Sanders is number one in the in it, and
says he's
okay.
9.
Here we go. No, Bernie Sanders first, Joe Biden second. This is according to CNN Politics. Kamala Harris third.
That's the one I saw.
Huh?
So I said he's behind Kamala Harris.
He's behind
But
Kamala
at what
Harris.
percentage?
Wait a minute. And Pete Buttigieg is number 4.
Yep.
Well,
That's
on
the
this
one I saw.
CNN poll, they got him at 9.
No, this is a CNN poll taken today, and it's Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, Beto O'Rourke, followed by Elizabeth Warren, Amy Klobuchar, Cory Booker, Kirsten Gillibrand, and Julian Castro.
He jumped 14 points in the Granite State poll today, launching him in the top 10.
Well, in the Bennett poll, he's number 1. How's that? You're going to now quote that?
Well, the Bennett poll,
I'm taking
count.
CNN Politics, which is a pretty good poll. You know, they're just trying to find out what's happening. And Bernie Sanders is number 1, Biden is number 2, Kamala Harris is 3, which I think is interesting because I didn't think she was doing that well, and I like her. And,
There's a big difference between them.
And Mayor Pete is number 4.
Now, I understand in rankings 1, 2, 3, and 4, but if you look at the percentage
of
what they're getting, there's a big disparity between number 4 and number 1.
Let me see here. Hold on a second.
You could be number 4 of a group of 4. Still means you're last.
He has a low percentage.
Yes, he does.
Buttigieg, okay. It doesn't give any percentage. His previous ranking was 5, so he's gone up 1.
So he's number 4 with a bullet, huh?
See,
Yeah.
here's a question, though, I think, that I can ask everybody.
Yeah.
You know, everybody pretty much, other than Phil, wants universal health care.
Yeah.
When was the last real policy that the Republicans or Democrats really passed that helped the middle class or the regular guy? They all promise and never can deliver.
Well, I mean,
The ACA helped the middle class.
Yeah, the Affordable Care Act helped. Well, it
I kept my kids on health insurance till they were 26 years old. That helped them a lot.
In the time they got a job, come on,
Why? But you make everything
26
a joke,
years
Phil.
old?
You just asked a question. Somebody answered it for you.
Yeah, okay. So it was good that he was able to keep his kids on health insurance until they were 26.
No, but I mean, the ACA was something that they passed, which was the best they could get done at the time because the Republicans kept stonewalling them and wouldn't go along with anything that was really reasonable. I mean, when we're talking about Medicare for all, which is really what we should be struggling for. There's no fighting for that. I mean, that's a big fight. That's a big one to fight for. What do you think, Patrick? You're the guy who's got every ailment known to mankind. Well, come on.
Oh yeah. Plus, I'm very happy that I had my son until he became 26.
Patrick, how are you covered medically? Because you've got a lot of issues, right?
Yeah, and since I'm not employed full time right now, I'm on disability.
You're on what?
Disability.
Disability. Okay. So, and does that take care of your needs? I mean, financially.
You mean as far as income?
Well, as far as outgo, actually. I mean, in other words, in your medical bills and so on, how much of it does it take care of?
80%. It's same as Medicare.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't afford to get a secondary, so I'm paying that 20% that's not covered.
Would it be...
Is that 20% more than it would have cost to get a secondary?
That's what I was going to ask, yeah.
Oh, that's the thing that really, well, I shouldn't think it sucks that I don't have bills that big, but the bills that I do have, like last year, out of pocket, was about $6,000 for me. It would cost more to get a secondary insurance or broke even. So to me, it isn't worth it.
So in other words, in the money that you're putting out, it doesn't amount as much as you would have to pay for that secondary.
Right.
Yeah, because what I find is that secondary is pretty expensive these days. You know, I mean, if we weren't with SAG-AFTRA, which is a wonderful deal because we both, for the two of us, we pay $2,000 a year.
That's terrific.
And that's terrific. But before, when I was at Sirius and I had to have a secondary, it was running as close to $400 a month. So what is that? That's almost double and a half.
$5,000.
It's almost $5,000.
Yeah.
About $300
And by the way, for this $2,000 a year, I also have this dental, of which I get $2,500 a year.
Yeah.
As opposed,
pretty good.
you know. So that's very good, and I also can get glasses too. But I don't know if I need them. Yes, Jeff.
Got his hand.
Yeah. So I was just going to tell you guys that I pay, I think it's more like $6,000 or $7,000 for the secondary.
Really?
And having it.
Is that for the both of you, for you and your
No,
wife?
that's just me.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. And remember, I'm 73 years old, so you know I'm getting paid by the government, so to speak.
Well, I'll tell you what we have.
But I got to tell you that my costs are like zero once I pay the premiums, because there's a certain amount of stuff that you got to pay. I don't know, $500 of something or other before you can even.
Yeah.
On my Kaiser deal with Medicare, it's going to be including the vision and the dental. It's $1,440 a year for the secondary, and there are no deductibles, just a $30 copay, and that's it. So, which is pretty much the deal I had before the Medicare deal, but I was paying $1,300 a month.
But the point is that, for instance, we were. The funny part was that at her job, our secondary was being covered by the insurance policy that was covering her at her job, and that was $20,000 a year. Okay, just to get and all they were having to do was pay the secondary. Wow. So she went to her company and said, "Hey, look, I can get this SAG-AFTRA, and it's $2,000 a year. Will you pay that?" And so they're paying our supplemental for us.
Nice.
Even if they have to pay taxes on it, it's still a lot cheaper than $20,000.
If
2,000 is maybe what, 3,000 with tax.
If tomorrow she no longer was working and she didn't have they weren't taking care of her medical. Still, we could somehow scratch up the $500 every 3 months, for SAG-AFTRA. It's been terrific, and the dental is $1,500, is $2,500 as opposed to $1,500 like Delta Dental usually is. Yes, Jeff.
If you really are concerned about the cost, the best strategy that I know is you get on an airplane. It probably costs you $1,000 to go to Australia, and then it's free.
Even if you're a visitor to the country?
Absolutely.
Shit, I should get my teeth done.
I've been there.
Thought you did.
No, I mean, now he wants my tops. I'm not giving him
wait a minute.
$4,000.
Jeff's been there. Tell us more, Jeff.
Well, I was there, and I had to go to the hospital to have my blood checks and all that kind of stuff. And and I said, well, how do I pay for this? So we don't charge anybody for anything. We don't do that here.
What is so wrong with that concept? What is wrong with that concept?
How many people live in Australia? 20 million?
Oh, geez. It isn't a matter of how many people live in the country, Phil. How many people are paying taxes in this country?
And they work.
How many people are, and so do the people in Australia. And yet they manage to take care of their own. Isn't there something nice to say about taking care of your own?
I'm going to ask my friend Matt, who's Australian, the guy I got my computer from. I'll ask him, what the deal is on the medical.
He'll probably tell you it's wonderful. When I talk to Canadians, they say it's wonderful.
Yeah.
They have no complaints. As I say, the guy I know, Ted Randall, who's the disc jockey, he's now 92. I said to him, well, you moved to Canada? He said, yeah, and I live in Canada. I said, do you get Canadian health insurance? He says, yes. I said, how good is it? He said, let me put it this way. If I were still in the United States, I'd be dead.
Yeah, at 92, everything's wonderful.
You make a joke about everything, Phil, rather than discuss it.
Okay, so you don't want jokes. I thought this was humor and politics.
No, it isn't. Not when it.
Oh, okay.
Not when
it's not humor.
No, it is humor. It is humor in politics.
It's anti-Trump.
Let me define it, Phil, for you. It's not. It is humor in politics, but it's not bad jokes in politics.
Well, that's all I got. You want to pay me double? You want to double what I get paid? I'll come up with better jokes. I'll pay for my jokes.
We're coming towards the end of the show. Eddie, anything you want to say about any of this?
No.
How do you take care of your medical?
I'm in a labor union.
You're in a labor union, so you've got it through the union. Is it a good plan?
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, do you have to pay into it, or do they just take?
I have $20 copay, and
yeah.
the rest.
So your employers pay for it.
Are you employed now, or are you retired, or what?
I'm employed. I work at a refinery.
Oh, okay. All right. So so you're covered. That must make you feel good.
And that's why gas is $4.15 for regular right now.
And by the way, it's going to go up to $5.
On the waterfront, he works.
Hold on a second, Eddie. Yes, go ahead, Eddie.
He said the labor cost during negotiations, they said it's like 3 cents a gallon.
Yeah.
So it's not $4.50 because of my health insurance.
No, it's because of Brown and Newsom.
Brown and Newsom. How about trying Trump and his?
Trump is not the one that's beating up California with all of these taxes and special blends.
But Trump because of his tariffs and so on is causing a problem with the gas prices.
I won't get my gas in Mexico. All right. Yeah.
If you got it in Mexico, it might be cheaper.
Yeah, really.
Probably is.
Yeah.
I think it would be
or
cheaper.
in Canada.
Yeah.
You can get it cheaper in Connecticut.
That's right.
And we're not that cheap, but California's very.
Yeah, I saw what's Connecticut two something now.
Yeah, I was paying $2.60 something.
Yeah, I paid $4.15 for regular today.
Well, listen, we had a wonderful show tonight in which everything was in sync. I noticed that my live camera, which I'm looking at, you're not looking at, is off. Okay, but my main picture is fine. Everything worked perfectly tonight, except that I fucked up the beginning by accidentally stopping the interview with Ronnie and having to start it again. But outside of that, kill me. Okay. Anyway.
Well, you had a lucky 7 tonight.
Lucky 7 with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, with me. Okay. Thank
you,
you,
Phil.
Phil.
There would be nothing here if it wasn't for you.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Eddie. Call us more, Eddie. We'd love to hear from you more often. Jeff, love hearing from you. Charlie, always good hearing from you. And, of course, Tony. I think your mother's calling, Tony.
She's sleeping.
Everybody, give a big wave goodbye, okay? All right, there they go, ladies and gentlemen. I'm waving goodbye to them myself, okay? There they go. Okay, let me get rid of them here unceremoniously and turn off the Skype so that we don't need it anymore. Okay, that's our. Everything worked tonight so far. The show isn't over yet, folks. It may still have problems. Anyway, That's it for tonight. I'll be back again tomorrow after the exchange with Damian Chaplin. The intersection with Jack Bishop is next over most of the same station. I'll see you tomorrow night at 10 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, same station in life. And in the meantime, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Bye-bye, everybody. Have a nice night.